John Perry in the Bay, Whitley Nights, Hill Sway, movie start.
Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John, and on this video I'm going to talk about the upcoming second restoration from Hammer that follows hot on the heels of the amazing Captain Kronos set, and that releases 1953's Four-Sided Triangle. Now, you might be saying to yourself, the eagle-eyed viewers might be saying, hang on a minute, but if you turn this around you will see on the extras here you do get the whole film, the Four-Sided Triangle from 1953. So when Hammer announced a few days ago via email that they would be releasing the Four-Sided Triangle, I thought, that's a bit of a strange one, I've got to admit. So I knew it was on here, so I thought, right, and I haven't watched it before, so I thought the time is right to watch this film. I've picked up 4 more Hammer titles, and also I'll talk about what I think could be coming out from Hammer. Now, this is just my opinion, and I'll tell you how I got to that opinion. It could be completely wrong, but I'll tell you what I think will be coming somewhere down the line. So the Four-Sided Triangle can be found on disc 2 on this set here. It is on DVD only, and it is around about 81 minutes long. And I put it on and I thought, right, the reason why it is on here is because it's a bit like Frankenstein in a fashion. Now, I consider this movie to be more like Frankenstein. If you cross Frankenstein with a fly, you've kind of got a good idea what this is going to be about. It's filmed in black and white, obviously, and it's got a great cast on here. The main narrator and star of this film is actually the man who did the voiceover for Mr. Kipling from the advert. Remember that? Exceedingly Good Cakes. So he's on here. Actually, the cast is absolutely brilliant. Now, I don't want to go too much into this story, but I think of it more like I do think it's a sci-fi film. It does say it's a romance film as well, which I can see. And I do consider the Four-Sided Triangle to be more of a morality tale, kind of what if, or don't mess with those certain things. That's the way I picked it up, and had a really good time with it, actually. So if you've got this disc at the moment, I do recommend that you do try out the Four-Sided Triangle on here. So in the 2 for £15 sale and the indicator titles from HMV, I want to thank my good friend Matt Chapman for putting me onto this sale. I picked up The Shadow of the Cat. This is from 1961. Now, I do know that Indicator have released a lot of Hammer films, and this is the best way I have found to pick these ones up cheaply, and also to get the ones that are not really well known on the Hammer front. I do think that these are well worth a watch, and the ones I've got from Indicator, I've enjoyed them all. Now, you can say Four-Sided Triangle is more of a sci-fi film, and you'd be right. So I do expect that when Hammer are going to release some of this stuff, it's not going to all be horror. But I do think these sometimes lesser known Hammer films are well worth a watch. This one here seems to be really like a gothic horror. It does star Barbara Shelley, who is a big star in the Hammer films. And I'm really interested to check it out. Black and white. I think black and white gothic films look better for me. This is how, when these came out in the 1960s, this is where Mario Bava watched them and said, right, I'm going to do that. And Mario Bava did them absolutely brilliantly, but his main influence was Hammer films. So really interested to get these 4 watch that I'm going to talk about, but I haven't seen any of them at this point. So that's Shadow of the Cat. Next up is 1963's The Old Dark House. Now, this is a horror comedy. Now, I say I haven't watched any of these, but I have watched and I have got the 1932 original of this. Now, this is an absolutely great film. It is a riot, actually, and it's really got an amazing cast in there. And this one, I hope, is going to be exactly the same. It does follow, obviously, the same story as that. It's this old dark house, and these people go into it, and there's a lot of things going on to it, and a lot of horror comedy to be got from it. It does star the amazing Jeanette Scott, who was one of my favourite Hammer actresses, although she's not really widely known. She's the daughter of Thora Hird, and she's still with us, thankfully. And I didn't know that when I got this, and I thought, oh, I can't wait to see this now, because with her being in it, I think she's absolutely brilliant actress. I think the best film she was in was The Amazing School for Scoundrels. Absolutely brilliant film. But I can't wait to see this one. This is the type of film that I really like. I like horror comedies like this from the early 50s, 60s. I just think there's something about them that is different to the horror comedy of these days, obviously, and really looking forward to this. Now, this one here, for some reason, it does have a colour version of it and also 2 black and white versions of it. I don't know what the differences are in the 2 black and white ones, but I do know when I put the colour version on, it doesn't look like it's been colorized. It looks like it actually is a colour version. and then I have the black and white one. Not too sure why that one is. No doubt somewhere in here it'll tell you why that is a thing. But when I put it on, I did notice that the colours, the vibrant Hammer colours, looked amazing in here. And I thought, yeah, we will be watching that because it doesn't look like it's been colorized. It looks like it was really shot in color. And I think with the advent of color, Hammer really shone with their production values. So interested in seeing this one. That's The Old Dark House. Next up, also from 1963, is The Scarlet Blade. Now, as I said before, Hammer didn't just do horror films, they did a wide range of stuff. Obviously, we are all dying for the horror classics to come out. But do know they will be releasing other things, although I can't tell you what they are at the minute because they're keeping the cards very close to the chest. So, yeah, this stars Oliver Reed. Oliver Reed seems to star in a load of these ones that weren't the exact horror, although he is in the few horror ones, but he seems to be better suited for these action romps. So that's The Scarlet Blade. And last up in the 2 for £15 sale is 1965's The Brigand of Kandahar. I don't know anything about this. I had to search on my phone to see what indicator have released in the way of Hammer films, and these are the ones that came up. So I went searching on the shelves and I found these ones. I have got quite a few of Hammer indicator releases and I want to get them all watched, and I'll come back and I'll talk about them in a future video. And also a good selling point for these films is that the stars are usually the stars you would find in Hammer horror, and also the set pieces and the set designs and the actual locations are usually straight from the Hammer films, although all I've done is change wallpaper or change the perspective of the shot at castles and such like. So interested in checking these all out, and don't forget this 2 for £15 sale is great. You can pick all this stuff up even on the website. I think it's cheaper, 3 for 30 I think, and you can cheaply build up your Hammer collection. So to finish off this video, I'm going to speculate on what I think could be coming out from Hammer in the future. So when I put this on for the first time to watch Captain Kronos, I did notice that Hammer have a new ident when they start their films off. So on the previous ident, that's probably been around since about 2012, it does show pictures from Hammer films on that ident, and this one does the same, this brand new one. So when I looked at that ident that's on for a couple of seconds, I did write down the films that were on there. Now this is my guesswork to say that these could be ones that are forthcoming. Now the ones I did see, I'll show you here, and they pop up. Now my reasoning behind this is the fact is when Hammer put this together, there's no way I would think they would show all of these ones and never release them. So this is why I think these are going to be a definite releases, and they're all great. So the first one that I saw in there was The Curse of Frankenstein. Now this gets back to the four-sided triangle. When as soon as I heard that this one was going to get released, I thought, right, that means they're definitely going to go back to this because this has always been talked about on here as a kind of foreshadowing of Curse of Frankenstein because it's got a bit of a Frankenstein tale to it. So the best thing about them doing this one again, because I've got to say this version here, I know there is a better version that came out and it's been remastered. So that version, which I haven't got, is meant to look absolutely great. When this came out, it was the first Frankenstein they released, and I thought it looked absolutely atrocious. It looked washed out. It looked absolutely nothing like I expected it to look like. I was really disappointed with it. Apparently, that was the best it could do. But when you saw that the better version that came out, you realized it wasn't the best it could do. And I was quite disappointed with this, to say the least. I have seen this on telly and DVD, and the picture quality looked better than this one. But anyway, it is what it is. I was going to get that one, but this one here, I do think it's going to come out. It's just when they went to this four-sided triangle, it just made me think immediately of thinking they're going to do this one because it's on the same disc. I know it's not released by Hammer, although they've got something to do with it. It's not their company that they've got now, the production company. But I do think that it's got to be a knocking bet that this one is going to come out because this one has been remastered of a better quality. So there is better elements out than this. And I think that the Hammer restoration team and the work they did on Kronos was unbelievable. I do think they could make this one to be the definitive version. So that's the first one I think is going to come out. And I don't know if this is going to come out first or I think this is going to come out whatever. I just think that somewhere down the line, The Curse of Frankenstein will be coming out. And this is, like I say, it's one of the best ever Frankenstein ones. It sets off the way that Frankenstein goes with this. He's despicable. He's not like this dashing bloke that you see on the previous iterations of Frankenstein. He's a bit of a slime ball, actually, and he's all the better for it. And Peter Cushing plays him absolutely amazingly. But this is My first guess at what could be coming out, The Curse of Frankenstein. Brilliant film, although it needs a massive remaster from that. Now, the next one, there was a picture of Ingrid Pitt, and I couldn't tell exactly what film it was of, but I do think it's either The Vampire Lovers, amazing, or Countess Dracula, equally amazing. Ingrid Pitt, for me, is easily recognizable as one of the leading ladies in Hammer, bar none. And these are two great films. Now, the remaster on them is all right. It's not sensational. This is released by Network. Network is now sadly defunct, and this is Final Cut. Now, I always did think when Final Cut released Summit, I thought the best one for them was Studio Canal. Studio Canal released these. They were absolutely amazing. And when these came out, they were kind of lesser for me. They still look okay, but I do think these could do with just a really good restoration. Now, when I'm talking about these films, I am saying on this one so far, I am saying that need good restorations. And is it because are Hammer choosing these ones? This is, like I say, it's just guesswork because they want to go back and they want to do the wow factor like they did with Captain Kronos. I don't know. I do think that these ones could come out in bigger versions. Like I said, I think four-sided triangle will be a smaller one, maybe just a slipcase. But if it comes out in the big version, that's good with me. After everything that Hammer release, and I will collect everything they do. So that's my second guess. Either one of these two, or maybe even both of them, would come out by Hammer. Next up from the ident is The Curse of the Werewolf. Again, this is Final Cut. Now, is this going down the line of them getting these rights? Is it easier to get the rights off this company? I don't know. This is just pure speculation from me. This is a great film. The only werewolf film that they ever did, I can't believe they only ever did one. Maybe when they come back and they start doing these new films, that they make a new film at the minute, actually, would they do a new werewolf one? That would be something good to see. This is a great film. And Oliver Reed is amazing in it. He's probably the best person they could have picked from the Hammer studio cast to play the werewolf. It was like perfect casting for me. Love this film. And again, this could do with a good remaster. It's not bad. I'd still rate it. But I do think that this company, Final Cut, didn't really put out the best version of Hammer. I think if Studio Canal had got their hands on it, it would have looked better. So that's another guess from me. Next up on the ident was The Mummy. Now, this is the second sight version. Absolutely incredible edition here. It's one of the best ones. Now, this was the one that came out that, was the best special edition up until The Amazing Kronos, because none of these had been given any special editions for me, like a separate film. They have taken the exact master off here. They haven't remastered it. Now, this makes me think is this due a remaster, a good 4K remaster, because it doesn't look bad at all. But I knew when I saw the the same, it wasn't Second Sight came up. It was like say Final Cut or whoever released this first of all. I thought, here we go. This has been just one ported over, and it could look better for me. So that's another one that I think is going to come out. Obviously, The Mummy is what a great film that is, and it's iconic. Obviously, it stars the best two characters in Hammer for me. And last up is the one that I saw on that ident is Dracula. Now, this has got to come out. There is no way that Hammer, say if they released 20 movies, there's no way they wouldn't put this one in because this is the one that everyone's asking for. And also, it's the one I believe is the most iconic one of theirs. It's not my favorite one, but I do think it's the one that everybody thinks about. When this came out, this was a revelation because it had this extra footage in that was found in Japan somewhere and it was fitted into the end because this was the full version. The bits of the ending was cut out for British audiences and it was put back in. It was found, was put into the Japanese version and it was found, somewhere. It was like really bad quality, but it was put into here to get the full version. Now, I don't imagine they would have found these extra bits. I think that's a bit too much to ask for. But I do know when I saw this one, a bit like The Curse of Frankenstein, I went, this has looked better. I've seen this looking better. It's all right, but it looks a bit washed out. And that's how I think that The Curse of Frankenstein looks. I mean, it's a decent remaster, but I do think this one could look a lot better. Now, I don't even know who released this icon. Is this Lionsgate type of thing, icon? I do think that, as I said, Studio Canal can put out better versions of these. They have done. The Studio Canal ones are usually the best things I've ever seen to do with Hammer. apart from Kronos. So anyway, that is a little bit of a thought process. It could be completely wrong. I could be barking up the wrong tree, but I do think that that ident could possibly show what Hammer are going to release. Now, Hammer, as I said, are being very tight-lipped about this. When they talked about the four-sided triangle come out, it was a kind of bit of a wow moment because I thought that's the last one I would have picked. Even though when I've watched it, I do think it's a great film. It's a surprisingly well-made film with a great cast, and as far as I know, it hasn't been put out on any other version bar the special features on Curse of Frankenstein. So I'm excited to see that one come out. I just think that the future is bright when it comes to Hammer, and I'm really intrigued on how they're going to go on this. I like the way that Hammer are playing the guessing game. They're not just putting a slew of things out and say, oh, we're going to release this and whatever. I think that it's great to have this kind of mystery surrounding Hammer and the way they're going to go forward with it. But that's my take on it anyway. And yeah, can't wait to see what they do next. So, thanks for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.